Before we begin, thank you very much to Realtor Fred for joining my Patreon campaign. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Fred, I actually met at my toy shop. He's been coming in and getting to know some Transformers pretty well. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're part of the Patreon campaign. Thanks for keeping my channel afloat a little bit better. Really appreciate it, everybody. All right, so Hasbro did one of their roundtable calls things with a whole bunch of people from the community, a whole bunch of influencers and different websites. I don't get invited to those things because when I think Hasbro could be doing something better, I call them out for it. I'm pretty sure I'm on a blacklist because I'm a little bit too honest. So, we're just here to observe the news and the reports that came out. I am using TFU.info's Twitter feed for this because they seem to have the best recap and, yeah, I just feel like this is, like from what I saw, like the best source I could go to actually get to, like, find out exactly what went on here. Alright, so, we will start into it from the bottom. So, they started off announcing, like, the team we're dealing with here, they didn't work on the Rise of the Beast mainline toys, so they can talk studio series, but not, the main line, which it's easy to forget because there's so much focus now on, Generations that Generations is not the main line. That is Earthspark, and now that is Rise of the Beasts. So it's a little bit weird. But yeah, let's go. So first question, will we see more Blasters cassettes a la the Spy Patrol pack? We're always trying to finish mini collections. We love Steel Jaw and Ram Horn. Mark has considered double cassette doors for Twincast. Budget was a concern. Alright, so this, so it's weird. They do try to, like, complete sets of characters now. So the fact that we are missing Steel Jaw and Ram Horn from Blaster's loadout is a little bit frustrating. I mean, the more frustrating thing is to match the others, they have to be in translucent plastic, which is not my preference. It's interesting for them to note that, like, the door on Twincast is not accurate because they were trying to keep a cartoon accurate aesthetic. So yeah, it's not a bad choice. It's not a bad choice. I see why. Speaking of cartoon accurate, they did, I believe they also mentioned that they wanted to do an alternate head. They wanted to have the toy head, but the priority was making it accurate to Headmasters. So I understand where that came from. So yeah, there you go. All right, moving on. Notice a lot of designs were based on Transmetal designs. Evan worked with, worked with Yu-Yu-san on Air Razor design, built conversion similar to Kingdom. No reused parts for Kingdom Air Razor. So yeah, same transformation scheme. This is what I remember. This is what I call a reskinned Transformer. It's all new parts, but it's using the engineering of a previous figure. This is the first movie they didn't work with ILM. Worked with MPC on Rise of the Beast. I don't know who MPC is. I'm going to get called out for that. The more important thing here is that it's not ILM. For the first time ever, someone else is doing the CGI for the Transformers. So this movie should look quite a bit different. I'm actually really curious to see how it turned out. Yeah, like that alone is kind of like a fascinating little bit. I didn't even realize, like, I'm so used to ILM doing the Transformer CGI, it didn't even, like, occur to me that a different team might be involved in this movie. Which here's made designs prior to toy designs, etc. Yeah, alright, so that's someone else on the call. Alright, was the Volvo Optimus planned to be the Amazon Optimus? Cannot comment on figures that did not happen with their partners. Holiday Optimus was meant to also pay homage to the UK comic cover. Classic Optimus in G1 colors later this year. So, we pretty much know that, that was supposed to be the Amazon Optimus Prime. The Volvo that they use for the vehicle mode matches the model that Amazon uses for its delivery trucks. Now, obviously, when a deal like that falls through, they cannot publicly comment on it, but it's pretty easy to figure out that's exactly what happened. The part where that paid homage to the UK comic cover, that's more incidental. We know that the Holiday Optimus was more inspired by the Star Wars team and what they do with their figures, and it gave them an easy way of releasing the toy before the holidays. So I'm interested to pick it up. I've heard it's good, but I have to wait for something that isn't in such a kitschy deco. See, where in the production process is there room to add in online feedback or reactions? Depends on where in the process. 6 months to 1 year. Packaging changes can be done quicker. I did read a different report on this that gave somewhat of a different answer about this. So, so things like Mark mentioned, for Skyquake, team took a lot of learning from fan reaction to RC and Bulkhead, and changes were made at last minute. They are listening. All right, so that's good to know. From what I heard from a different report, Skyquake literally got in at the 11th hour, the last possible minute they could have made changes to that toy. If you look back, we do have a behind the scenes thing that showed what Skyquake almost got designed after, and it would have fallen more along the lines of Bulkhead and RC, where the vehicle wouldn't have been nearly as the vehicle would not the overall aesthetic would not have been what fans wanted. I feel like there's a lot of love for Skyquake. I feel like they hit the right balance on this one. So good on them that they're actually listening and paying attention. They also did mention that the yellowing plastic thing is something they are actively working on. So that they're very aware. They're very aware that is a problem. They're trying to rectify. All right. Which universes do you want to tap in for Legacy? All right. So, see. One wanted G1 Sea Spray, which is, yes, a mini-bot we have not gotten yet. Haven't touched Energon. It's due for some updates. Energon is so tied to its gimmick, though. It's really hard to imagine. Now, I would love to get some Energon molds that aren't hampered by the Power Links gimmick, but that does make it a little bit hairy to actually make them. Just because, you're taking away such an identity from those toys. I mean, there's great designs. Like I said, I'd love to see them. It's just a matter of how do you make it still feel like the character when they can't do the thing that Energon revolved around. Obviously, Decepticons are easier. They didn't have to worry about that. But the Autobots, for someone like me that wouldn't mind an Energon Prowl update, yeah, it's a little bit weird. As much as I love Machine Wars, I want to do a Blue Jet Megatron. So I don't understand Machine Wars. I mean, I've been there. We talked about this. Machine Wars to me is boring. It's got its fans, but I really thought it was an uninspired series. I'm happy to not revisit it. But the designers have their own things, so that's nothing wrong with that. Rescue Bots Blades. We know that we are getting medics. We do know there is a medics floating around that is not slated. We don't have a release window for that or anything. So no idea when, but we know that Rescue Bots are actually getting Generations figures, which I think is a really cool thing. Team now bantering about RID 15 and TFCR. Nothing specific, but good to see the team talking about all of the possibilities. Yeah, there's a ton of different places they have not gone yet. I'm trying to wonder if this is I don't know if this is playing it. Let me get through all this, because there's one question that came up to point out, and it kind of refers to this one. Let's see. How do you plan out which mold gets reused for future changes, particularly Cyclonus into Metalhawk? Was looking at the mold plans and figured it could work with Cyclonus. Team has doc listing out their figures and has notes for future reuse. Some are pre-planned, like Road Rocket. Some are incidental, self-challenged, like Skids into Crankcase. So that's a lot better. It's a lot better to know that they actually have plans involved for a lot of these toys, but they're still kind of doing it on the fly too, just kind of figuring out, well, who could this mold work for as well, which is kind of the old school approach to it. It's a very BotCon approach, but obviously lots more retooling goes into making those toys work that way. That's probably the best way to go about it. Sometimes you have those planned in ahead. Those are great. And then you leave yourself wiggle room to work around. So It's weird to me because that Metal Hawk uses so few of Cyclonus's parts and looks so different in jet mode. Like it's like shocking to me that that's not pre-planned. You know, they just looked at Cyclonus and went, "Oh, that might work." That's I really think I don't really think people do not give credit enough to the engineers at Hasbro and Takara for like being able to figure this stuff out. Missed the last question. Hopefully someone else has informed you. The question was, how many heads are planned in advance? The team's gotten better about aligning the extra heads and parts of making the toys. Lots of extra heads didn't make it years ago. The rule is they have at least one new head planned for just about every mold now. Evo Fusion Junkions, does it make it easier that the figure comes apart or harder to design extra modes? Easier when it breaks apart to transform. These are more complex because they transform without breaking apart. So that was the consensus, is that it took a lot of work to figure out the Junkions, work with Hajime-san to achieve it. Definitely a design challenge. The Junkion concept, is something in another report said it was basically something that is created specifically because fans really like the weaponizer and fossilizer gimmicks so much that they wanted to continue the play pattern, and Junkions were a natural fit. So the only reason that we now have this subset of Junkions that break down and recombine is because we actually were very vocal about how much we liked the previous attempts. So good on us. We got those made. See, So and they're looking forward to seeing like what we come up with as different combinations for these. Can make a sidecar out of scrap, hook, and crash bar. Cool to know. They also mentioned that there's some secrets molded into crash bar if we keep an eye out. So as soon as those are in hand, start paying attention to the sculpt. Possibilities for accessory packs. Comes up a lot. Designers want to do it. Hard to find a place for it at retail. Yeah, right. We know that. The only way they got it through before was with Red Cog. Could just re-release Skywarp. I did speculate previously that the solution to that problem with Skywarp is most likely just to re-release that mold with the null rays intact and the new accessory dropped. That's pretty much what we're going to be looking at, and I'm expecting that in Legacy Year 3. So keep an eye out. Let's see if I'm right. Hasbro does. How does Hasbro address scarcity of certain retail exclusives? Some shortages due to COVID and case packs. Retailers have exclusivity windows, have to wait to expire. Soundwave mold is out of exclusivity window. Looking at ways to make it into the line without flooding the market with sound waves versus putting out a deeper cut. Planning another year of Legacy, looking at that now. So we're basically looking at Soundwave in year 3 of Legacy. So that's a cool one to approach. The other ones they mentioned was that they were completely caught off guard by how in demand Cosmos was. So that's another one where once the exclusivity window wears out, then they can try and figure out how to get Cosmos back out. So this is again maybe a Legacy Year 3, or if it's still going on, a buzzworthy re-release. I get the feeling that by the reaction they had and admitting that they underestimated Cosmos's demand, we're going to see Cosmos again at some point. All right, so if he were to do Sound Blaster Studio Series, he would scale him to put him in line with Blaster. I thought they scaled okay already. They're both Voyager, and Blaster is supposed to be a little bit taller. And some talk regarding possibly Marvel G1 colors. I have been a big champion of doing a Soundwave in Marvel G1 colors. It's such a different color scheme for him, and it looks really good. And I'm really surprised they've never done it. All right, next question. With clear plastics, are there ways to color clears to achieve certain effects? Smoke out clear color for rewind, spray ops, red pieces. Process is called tinting. So your translucent paint, tinting. Only works with certain colors. Laying colors can change overall color. We know that because that's literally the flaw most Transformers have when you paint over their clear plastics. Another reason I don't like the stuff. Conversation continuing around clear and opaque. Some love getting to the team for their social media interactions. All right. See. Studio series relation to Rise of the Beasts. So studio series goal has always been screen to shelf. Rise of the Beast delay create issues with planning process. A lot of challenges. First time doing studio series same year as the film, but it is a great way of gauging customer interest in certain characters. It's a weird situation because of that delay. We now have 2 lines going at the same time. So originally it seemed like the studio series ones were almost intended to be something they released later on or earlier. It almost seems like they're meant to be released earlier. Like those are like the earliest designs. So the fact that we're getting them now at the same time makes this weird thing at retail. But, it doesn't seem like they had much of a choice. So here's a fun little nugget they just dropped out of nowhere. Same team working on Rise of the Beast mainline are also the team that does Earthspark and is working on upcoming animated film toy line. So this rumored animated film that we're supposed to get that takes place entirely on Cybertron, the toy line is already in development. So they are actually expecting to do that movie, and they're expecting it to come out, I guess that's probably about like a 2-year cycle on toys. So yeah, like that's actually like interesting to know that it's already being worked on. Also, shout out to that team that's working on 3 toy lines at the same time right now. All right, let's see. What can you tell us about Crash Bar's personality? Let's see. Dan and Marcello did concept versions of them, wanted to push the aesthetic a bit, wanted to push more toward post-apocalyptic look. So that's definitely something I've seen in the new Junkions. They all kind of have that Mad Max aesthetic to them. See, what's up with some RID 2001 or Car Robot Love and Legacy? Apparently, at this point, Evan ran and got Rail Racer and Landfill from his collection. Loves RID combiners, hopefully at some point. From what I remember, Rail Racer sold so badly, Hasbro said they just were never going to release those toys again. So I can't imagine them visiting Rail Racer. Landfill? Maybe. But that if they can figure out how to make that transformation scheme work again. Let's see. Conversation has veered into possible fire trucks for future release if they did RID-01 Optimus. So you'll recall they mentioned in the previous the previous stream that they mentioned like wanting to do fire truck transformers more often. Or they always prefer Optimus, or one of the designers mentioned they always prefer Optimus Prime as a fire truck. And a lot of people went, oh, we're getting Fire Convoy. No, they didn't have that specifically in mind when they said that. So, like it's like a wait and see type thing. That said, it probably fit in well on Legacy Year 3. See, favorite engineering innovations they've come up with. So Siege Hound's legs becoming the sides of the car, which I think kind of folds into a lot of the current legs unfolding into the car that a lot of toys are doing now. See, Mark can't talk because he keeps talking about things they're working on now. Crankcase's grill gun, which it's okay. I never really thought it was that great. Geoxys was one they mentioned. The new Junkions was ones they mentioned. Here's where they mentioned that they want to see vehicle combos, and the only reason exists is because fans. So good on us. Let's see, is Studio Series Cheetor based on Beast machines? Also, designers credited on boxes. Design was based on files they received. Evan observed it was heavily influenced by Transmetal design. So, the way they explained this is that the company doing the graphics and the designs for the new movie are actually using previous toys as a basis for how they function in the movie and how they will look overall. So the reason, the new Air Razor looks like Kingdom Air Razor is because they had Kingdom Air Razor as an example to figure out how the design is going to work. So it's a little bit of like we're on a loop now. Like we're now in this loop where one informs the other, and we just keep going over and over. As for credits, too many people, not enough spaces. I've seen a lot of toys on the shelves these days that do credit the sculptor, they do credit the designer. I understand there's a lot of people that go into making Transformers, but like really the sculptor and the engineers are probably the only ones you really need to mention, and absolutely deserve that nod. It's long overdue. They say they throw in shout outs wherever they can, but they're not really putting them out there publicly, are they? And there's still remember incidents where Hasbro artists say, man, I wish I could tell you all the ones I've worked on. Which kind of indicates they don't let artists tell you what they worked on. It's a bad situation. I really wish the designers got more credit. I wish everyone involved got more credit. Team provided input on Rise of the Beast designs in early stages. Had to find a balance in the film between period movies set in the 90s. Right. I keep forgetting it's a 90s period piece. All right, and then they just dropped this on us out of nowhere. So out of nowhere, they actually decided to announce, yeah, we're getting another Origin figure, and it's Jazz in the Buzzworthy line. Yep. See, yep, they have clear canopy, G1 style weapon. The robot mode looks super cartoon accurate. He gets a little grappling hook that can attach to his gun. And they mentioned it is not sharing a single piece with Studio Series Jazz. It is entirely its own thing. So super cool, super random. That's what we got. We'll look at it closer once we get done here. They did hint that this is a sub-collection, so we might not be done with the Origin figures. That said, the only ones that are really left would be Wheeljack and, like, weirdly enough, Soundwave, who I'm pretty sure you're not going to see a lamppost Transformer Soundwave at any point. I could imagine them redoing, like, I could imagine them re-releasing the Siege Seeker with, like, a clean deco. Or maybe some retooling to make it more cartoon accurate in robot mode, because it is very heavily tech greebled. I could imagine that. I could also imagine just like redoing it all together. I mean, if they're gonna do more Origins, like I would love to see it, because like some of those I love these Cybertronian designs. Let's see. Yeah, just more mentions about Jazz. Very bad close-ups on the webcam. Close to the size of the G1 toy, funnily enough. A few extra questions here. So, as of right now, Velocitron Hot Rod does not have an official plan for release. It isn't canceled, but there's no plan to release it. So, it's telling me that Velocitron might actually be done. If they're not doing another wave of Voyagers for that line, then yeah, that might be it. Which is weird, because it seems like Velocitron did better than some of those like exclusive waves. I think Velocitron did better, at least judging from my Walmarts, than that like Beast exclusive wave that they did with like Buzzsaw and all those, and like Night Prowler. Those I can still find, whereas like there's barely any Velocitrons left. So it's weird. It's weird. Hopefully that Hot Rod makes it out somewhere. I know some people that actually do prefer that version. Not my preference. I kind of want, I kind of want the movie accurate, but that's just me. All right. Is Armada Megatron being engineered with combining with future figures in mind, i.e. Tidal Wave? We're very conscientious in that regard. Something like that would certainly not be missed. Stay tuned. That heavily hints at what they are planning. So we pretty much know that this year's Commander class is probably going to be Armada Optimus. So that would put Tidal Wave either like end year or early next year to be a Commander class. I would love to see it. It would have to be Commander class if it's going to combine with Megatron. I would have really liked it at Titan scale, because I think it's one of the only Unicron Trilogy characters that could match up with Metroplex size-wise. And probably the only one among the Decepticons that could actually make it to that point. Being a Commander does improve the chance of repaints, so we're probably going to get it show accurate. But US Toy Accurate is also an option. So is Energon colors. being a smaller size means that's more likely. Let's also keep in mind, Armada Megatron really doesn't do a lot to facilitate that combination. It's really Tidal Wave that's doing any of the lifting to make that combination work. So that I really was never concerned with. I'd just rather it just be like a really good Tidal Wave toy and like not have to work combination engineering into it. Because let's be honest, Tidal Wave's combination with Megatron, kind of bad. Kind of bad. But we will see. But it definitely seems like they have that in mind, which means we might actually get a Tidal Wave. Evolution Dirge is a straight up re-release with no deco changes. Cool. Alright, official Jazz images coming up. Which, yeah, they're about to come up here. Follow all these people. And yeah, here we go. Here we go. The official Origin Jazz photos. He looks super good. Like just like Bumblebee, like spot on cartoon accurate proportions going on. Looking really nice. And then yeah, this flying shoe he turns into. It's so weird. I love it. I do really, really like it, but it's such a weird alt mode to get from that. I love this fake Porsche chest that does nothing in this mode. I really want to see how this transforms, because it actually doesn't seem like it's got a whole lot of kibble going on. At least what it does. You can see it's folded up a lot in the legs. It's got the canopy on the back. So I really want to see how this toy works. I really want to see how this toy works. Yeah, and then there's all like the buzz info about it. I believe that's it for the whole news thing. So we got a lot of interesting tidbits in this particular round. It's cool to know that there's already a toy line in the works for the animated movie, so that's not too far off. I'd love to see like I agree with the sentiments of like tapping into Energon. There's still a ton that Legacy hasn't tapped into that I'd really like to see new toys for. Like Viacons, for instance. There's a lot of Viacons that really need better figures. Like a Voyager scale Tankor would be nice. Yeah, because the only good one we got was a deluxe. Yeah, I really like these because it actually lets like actual people from the community touch base with Hasbro and ask things that we have been wondering for a long time. So this is like really cool fan outreach stuff. Really like that. I've talked way too much about this. I've already done like one super long video. Now I've done another super long video. I apologize for that, but thank you if you followed along all this time. Thank you for watching. As always, I will see you next time. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.